We have just learned news today that Clayster has officially announced that he is a restricted free agent moving into next season. All right. There's a lot to dive into on this in a short period of time in which we need to do it. For those that obviously have not seen the announcements, the reason for this change is strictly, and I mean strictly, for the reason of the fact that we will have a 4v4 system moving into Cold War next year. And you have to feel for the guys in the Dallas Empire to make this roster change, to make this decision, because it is not a decision that they want to make. They've made that very clear in the release that the Dallas Empire made and the release that the players have been tweeting out since then. Even Clayster and his kind of Twit longer talked on how this was not a decision that the team wanted to make. It was one that kind of had to come through because of the 4v4 announcement. And this is something that is going to happen for every single team. Now, I will say it is not going to be nearly as difficult as it was for the Dallas Empire. Reason being is because of all the storylines that came into this year, what this team went through, along with the fact that they just won a world championship. And I think it was like maybe 15, 16, 17 hours later, it is announced that the 4v4 format is coming through here in Cold War. And it's hard, right? It's hard to kind of phrase this because this isn't really something that we've seen before in Call of Duty. Obviously, we saw the expansion from 4v4 to 5v5. That adds an extra player. That adds an extra element. But now it's a matter of you are getting rid of one and you're trying to move forward on how you do that. And again, it does not hurt any other team more than it does the Dallas Empire. And we'll start to learn more information as time comes out in terms of what Clayster's kind of envisionment is. We've learned kind of based on a few different tweets that have come out very recently about how it is going to be a decision that it needs to come out soon. It will be the Empire who's going to have to move him to a new team as he is a restricted free agent. But I will say, kind of quickly in retrospect, now knowing what we do and looking forward rather than at what has been a very recent past, Clayster is the most valuable free agent that is on the market and that will be on the market this season, and there is no question about that. He has proved himself to still be a top-tier player. There was a time last season, I had the chance to interview him, I asked him about it. There was a time last season where it was this stigma on him that he had not won in 1,400 days. Since that moment, he has won a multitude of times, doing so in which he has won a world championship in back-to-back years. He is the third ever player to go back-to-back. He is, rather along with Krem, and he is the third player ever to win 3 world championships. And to go along with that, he's not only still a top player, but he has also built teams with young players attached to it. He helped build United, and he has helped build the Dallas Empire. Again, he has worked with 4 rookies in the past season and has led them to 2 world championships in Illy, Simp, Shotzi, and Abizi. Very well could be and probably are the future of the CDL, and he was the one, along with Krem and along with a few other players, but kind of primarily who has been a part of all of their careers in just 2 seasons. Listen, every team should want Clayster. Every single team should be at the very least interested in what he can provide you with, right? The brand. Now listen, I've brought this story up a multitude of different times. The brand that he has attached to himself is unmatched, right? Outside of what we've talked about previously with Optic and how that's kind of led to the Huntsman, things of that nature. But there was a moment back at World War II Champs, right, 2018, Optic gets eliminated. And in that moment, the crowd, viewers, they had the ability to root for someone new, right? They could have all tuned out and all those things. But there was one player that they attached themselves to right after that. And it was Clay. It was the young roster of E-United that they instantly got behind. He has the brand, and he carries now this storyline that is going to be the biggest thing moving into Black Ops Cold War, which is this fact that franchising in 2 different scenarios has caused him to lose his team, right? He goes into E-United, they have to change up because of franchising. He now has this situation where we go from 5v5 now to 4v4. He loses it because of the new system. He is a storyline in himself as well as a crowd drawer. And you get, like I said, you get a brand. You get a player that has built championship level teams and has 3 world championships, 1 back-to-back, and is now regarded, if not already, but is now regarded more than ever, as one of the greatest players to ever pick up this game. Clay should be at the very least an interesting venture for every single team in the CDL. And as we look forward, like I said, there are going to be a number of different teams who are going to call him up. There's going to be a number of different teams that are interested, and we will get into that at a later date. But every team in the CDL should be keeping their eyes on this move, and at the very least should entertain the idea of what their roster would look like with someone like Clayster in it.